How much do creators actually charge for brand deals? Well, you're in the right place. I am Ashley, your pet content creator coach. I have 6 years of being a content creator and I have landed multiple 5-figure deals. So I'm here to tell you how much to charge. There are a few factors that I want you to consider about charging. Now, I'm assuming a lot of you are actually newer because you're probably coming to this video wanting to learn how much to charge, how brand deals work, how much to pitch and all that stuff. Well, this is a playlist where I'm teaching you pretty much A to Z about brand deals through my experience as both a coach and an influencer. And choosing how much to charge is based off of a few specific things. First, your audience size. Obviously, if you have 100,000 subscribers versus 5,000 subscribers, the amount that you're going to be able to charge is pretty different. Now, I'm a big proponent on believing that your audience size isn't as important as you think it is. Your engagement is important. So if you have a super engaged 5,000 person subscriber base and a horribly engaged 100,000 subscriber base, it is a little bit different there, okay? So engagement is really important. From there, you need to consider, are you charging for UGC content or in-feed deliverables? Now, we talked about these terms in another video in this playlist, so please go watch those before you come back to this one so you understand what I'm talking about. But in-feed deliverables, again, that is where you are posting on your content. UGC is where you're providing a brand content for them to be able to post. It does change, so that is important to consider. From there, how niched is your content? As in, how much time and effort does it actually take for you to be able to make your content? If you are a cat travel creator and it takes a lot of specific weather, timing, filming equipment and stuff to be able to film your outdoors adventures, that's very different than someone who can just flip on some lights, film in 20 minutes in their basement and be able to edit from there. So you have to consider your niche value and how long it takes for you to be able to actually create and edit your content. From there, I also completely totally recognize some of you just film on your phones, edit on your phones. Other people film on cameras and edit on desktop software platforms. So considering the quality of your content, you have to also keep that in mind. And then from there, we have to consider, does the brand or are you providing whitelisting, paid usage rights, or are you going to allow exclusivity? Those things, all of those things I mentioned, plays a factor in how much you're going to be charging. Now, what I'm gonna do, I have my book here in front of me, my book that I wrote for essentially brand deals and helping content creators. So I'm gonna be reading off of this because this is way too much to try to memorize. So when it comes to pricing, I always separate it into about micro, mid, and macro tier influencers. About 0 to 10,000 followers, 10 to 50,000, and then 50,000 plus. That is not only through my experience, but what I've seen the clients of mine, people throughout the Petfluencer Secrets programs, how much they've been able to charge as well. So I have a really good idea as to what is normal. Or at least in 2025, what people are not only charging, but also what brands are accepting as in for brand deals. So for a sponsored post, we're talking a video between $50 and $150 for that 0 to 10,000. This is very real. I've had other people in the Petfluencer Secrets program who've told me they've charged between $50 and $75 successfully. When I mean successfully, there's a difference between I could charge $5,000 for a video, but a brand may say that's unrealistic. I'll only give you $1,200. Okay, for example. Mid-tiers, very typical, $150 to $500. Yes, I have had one of my pet accounts when I was around 30,000 followers. I regularly got brand offers for between about $300 to $800. And then from there, macro influencers, again, that is for 50,000 plus. Things start getting wild at this point. Seriously, like wild. So you could get brand deals from anywhere from 500 to 2,000 plus. Now, when I say 2,000 plus, I believe in the plus because at this point you can negotiate 5-figure deals. Absolutely. I mean, I have an account with 100,000 followers and we've gotten multiple 5-figure deals. So that's really important to consider, but take into account that most of those are package deals. It's not just for one video. Now from there, you might want to know, how about Instagram stories? It is very common now for the brand deals to include Instagram story sets. That's about 2 to 3 Instagram stories in a row. So that's a set. So with that in mind, As a micro influencer, we're talking $25 to $75. Again, that's very realistic. I've seen about $25 to $50 being normal charging for that tier. For about the 10 to 50,000 follower range, we're talking about $75 to $200. And then once you're in the macro influencer, I definitely agree with this. It's about the $200 to $500 range. I personally have seen brands give me around $200 to $300 for a story set. So that's very normal. So with that in mind, that's your typical like brand deal. You've got videos, paid ads with it. But there are a lot of other a la carte things like the whitelisting and the paid ads, the exclusivity, and let's see what else do I have here. We got raw clips and sets of photos. So those are things where you can, again, charge more. I'm not gonna go through every single influencer tier with these ones, but the things to be really aware of is exclusivity. That needs to be right around 100% of the base price. So if a reel is $800, then you need to be charging about $800 for exclusivity because you're telling the brand, hey, I am not going to accept I cannot per our contract accept any deals with any other brand. So you better be paying me for that. Paid ads and whitelisting, I always charge per month. So per 30 days. I typically do 30, 60, or 90-day packages, if you would, for whitelisting. For this as well, somewhere between that 50 to 100% range of your base price. So if base price being your one piece of main content without any add-ons. If your one piece of content, your one whatever YouTube short is $300, if you decide that, then you need to think about it could be $150 to $300 for your paid ads usage. You are not paying for the ads. You are granting the ability for the brand to be able to put ads through your content. Okay, hopefully all that was helpful in regard to kind of getting an idea as to how much you can charge. With that in mind, in the next video is actually a really important one because I'm gonna be talking to you through where to find your brand deals. Like how do people find brand deals? Well, as someone who by this point, I need to just count, it's probably 100 brand deals plus by now. But as someone who has not only found and been sourced out for brand deals, I'm gonna tell you how it works. So let's get on to that video.